The future of the Philadelphia Flyers isn't coming. It's already here. From college snipers and junior phenoms to shutdown defenders and fifth-round miracles, these are the kids who are going to change everything. You've heard the names, but do we really know what they're going to bring to the ice? This is a deep dive into the next generation of Flyers hockey, so buckle up, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly who's coming and why you should be terrified if you're not a fan of the orange or black. Right now, it's safe to say that the Flyers' top prospect is Porter Martone. And when they grabbed him at 6th overall in 2025, eyebrows went up, but not in disbelief. More like, how'd he fall this far? Martone wasn't the flashiest name, but he had arguably the sharpest mind in the draft. Scouts raved about his offensive IQ and vision. And if you watched any of his tape at the U18s, you'd see why. The game just slows down for him. Martone reads defenders like an open book, slipping pucks through the seams others don't even recognize. While other players chase chaos, Martone anticipates it and turns it into offense. His skating, yeah, it needs work. His physicality, yeah, he could use more bite, but that brain is elite. Michigan State's snag of Martone was a massive get, and they know it. He'll be slotted in right away, playing top-line minutes and helping quarterback a power play from the wall. What should stand out immediately is that he won't need time to adjust to the speed of college hockey. Martone's ability to stay composed with the puck under pressure is rare for an 18-year-old. He doesn't just make plays, he makes plays that shift momentum. Though not an explosive player, he evades checks with timing and deception. Give him a few strides and some open ice, and he'll carve up defensive schemes with a precision usually reserved for fourth-year seniors. In a draft class loaded with speed and size, Martone distinguished himself with brains. This is a player who anticipates what defenders will do 2 plays ahead. He has an almost telepathic understanding of where the puck needs to go. Watch how he operates below the dots. He manipulates defenders with subtle head fakes, looks off passes, then dishes sauce tape to tape without breaking stride. It's surgical. Even without blazing wheels or physical intimidation, Martone generates offense through manipulation and creativity. And when he's not the one with the puck, he's reading the zone, cutting off breakout lanes and supporting the play. Martone isn't just smart, he's proactive. For Martone to thrive in the NHL, he'll need a strong center beside him, a play driver who can draw defenders and give Martone space to work. Ideally, like someone like Luchenko. Martone's ceiling is a first-line winger if paired with the right partner. Think of someone like Elias Lindholm, calculated, smooth, never flashy, but always dangerous. His off-puck game is strong enough that he doesn't disappear when he's not scoring. Instead, he supports the cycle, pressures pucks, and sneaks into quiet ice. That gives him a higher floor than most prospects. Whether it's a second-line role or top-line upside, Martone will impact games in subtle, meaningful ways. Look, Martone's path won't be rushed. Michigan State will give him a couple years to fine-tune his stride, bulk up, and continue dominating. Don't be surprised if he gets a World Juniors invite this winter and runs the show on Canada's top power play unit. He's got the leadership chops too. Give him a season or 2 in the NCAA and maybe a short AHL stint, and he could be pushing for NHL time as soon as next year. He's not going to wow you with highlight reel rushes, but he's going to pile up points and make everyone around him better. A low-maintenance, high IQ winger who plays winning hockey? Yeah, that's exactly what the Flyers need. Next, we have Luchenko. When training camp opened in September 2024, nobody, not even the most optimistic Flyers fans, thought Luchenko would break camp with the big club. He did more than that. He earned every shift. The 13th overall pick in 2024 turned heads with his compete level, defensive awareness, and work rate. His hockey sense allowed him to keep up with the NHL pace, even if his offense wasn't quite there yet. In a year where the Flyers were preaching patience, Luchenko forced their hand. He didn't just look like a young player hanging on. He looked like he belonged. And that's what makes him so special. He does everything right. But Luchenko didn't stay with the Flyers all season. He returned to junior and made a massive statement at the World Juniors. Wearing a letter for Canada, he took on matchups against the opposition's top lines, killed penalties, and led by example. He wasn't the tournament's flashiest name, but every coach, scout, and analyst praised his consistency. He made smart reads, executed clean zone exits, and supported the puck at all times. Luchenko might not be a dangler, but he thinks the game at a pro level already. This tournament cemented what the Flyers saw on draft day. Luchenko is a foundational piece. Back with the Guelph Storm, Luchenko wasted no time dominating. He didn't look like a player with anything to prove, because he really didn't have to. But what he showed was a higher offensive ceiling than many expected. He drove play on every shift, creating chances with his transition game, and winning battles all over the ice. While most junior centers cheat for offense, Luchenko remained disciplined. He worked the entire 200 feet. Guelph gave him a letter, the top line, and the toughest matchups, and he ran with it. Watching him in the OHL felt like watching a player preparing for his second NHL tour, not someone waiting for their first real shot. Let's be real, Luchenko probably won't be a point-per-game NHLer. That's not what his game is about. His true value lies in being the guy you trust in every situation. Late game draws, penalty kills, matchups against McDavid. He reminds some scouts of Philip Deneau, maybe with a bit more offensive flair though. A defensively responsible, positionally sound center who can skate, support, and make plays under pressure. If he tops out as a second-line center, that's a massive win. If he becomes an elite third-line anchor, still a major piece of a championship core. Either way, his game screams longevity and value. Heading into the 2025-26 season, Luchenko will make a strong case to stick with the Flyers full-time. If he's not centering a bottom six line, he could slide into a checking role on the wing to just stay in the lineup. He's got nothing left to prove in junior, and his maturity, both on and off the ice, makes him a perfect fit in Rick Tockett's system. The Flyers love his work ethic, his leadership traits, and the way he plays for the team. You want players like Jet Luchenko in your lineup come playoff time. The Flyers love Luchenko's work ethic, his leadership traits, and the way he plays for his team. You want players like Jet Luchenko in your lineup come playoff time. He's a culture guy with serious on-ice impact. At number 3, we have Oliver Bonk. When the Flyers selected Bonk 22nd overall in 2023, they weren't looking for the most exciting player. They were looking for the smartest. Bonk came from the London Knights, one of the best development systems in junior hockey, and he brought with him a complete understanding of how to defend in today's NHL. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't aggressive offensively, but he was calculated and calm under pressure. He reads the game incredibly well, closes space without overcommitting, and makes the right decisions more often than not. Bonk doesn't play hero hockey, he plays winning hockey, and that's what makes him valuable. Bonk's raw tools are obvious. The skating is clean. The gaps are tight. He handles heavy minutes with composure. He's not the kind of defenseman that's going to rack up 50 or 60 points or lead a highlight reel, but that's not what you want from your middle pair rock. This could be a shutdown guy in the making, someone who can eat 20 minutes a night, clear the front of the net, and quietly make everyone else's life easier. He reads rushes before they develop, angles players off the wall, and recovers well if beaten. He also has an underrated stick, disruptive in passing lanes but never chasing. The hockey IQ that made him a first-round pick still shines through. If he sharpens his first pass and plays with more urgency, the Flyers could have something serious on their hands. Right now, Bonk profiles as a safe, reliable second-pair defenseman, someone you trust with defensive zone starts and penalty kill time. But if he could take a step forward offensively, he could rise into a first-pair role. He'll never be a dynamic puck mover, but the tools are there to be more than just a stay-at-home guy. A little more deception at the blue line, quicker puck retrievals, and faster transitions out of his own zone would make him a real asset. With maybe a year or two in the AHL, Bonk could be knocking on the Flyers' door, ready to handle 18-20 minutes a night of real NHL responsibility. While there's a chance that Bonk might not be a franchise cornerstone, every successful team has a guy like him. A glue piece who does the dirty work and stabilizes a pairing. He's the type of player you need to win playoff series, not just get to them. He can kill penalties, defend leads, and calm things down when the game gets chaotic. Maybe think of players like Brett Pesce or Jonas Brodin. Underrated, but indispensable. He might not have a top pair ceiling, but his floor is high. And in a Flyer system that's starting to take real shape, Oliver Bonk fits like a glove. Now, before we get to our next prospect, I do want to mention that this is only skaters. You're not going to hear names like Igor Zavragin or Carson Bjarnason in our top 5 list. Now let's get to our next prospect. Drafted 133rd overall in 2022, Alex Bump was the classic low-risk, high-reward pick. Raw talent, big shot, and a little unpolished. Fast forward to 2025, and that bet is aging beautifully. Bump just led the Western Michigan Broncos to a national championship. pacing the team offensively and logging big-time minutes. In the final stretch of the season, he was their heartbeat, scoring clutch goals, driving offense, and giving defenders fits with his strength on the puck. What once looked like a developmental long shot is now a legit NHL caliber power forward. And what's more, he's still trending upward. The Flyers might have found a diamond in the fifth round rough. What stands out most in Bump's game is his ability to generate chances in a variety of ways. He's got a heavy, accurate shot that he can release off the rush or from a standstill. He can thread a pass through the seam, drive the net hard, or find space in the slot. At Western Michigan, he was used all over the lineup. First line, second unit, power play bumper, and thrived in every role. He sees the ice well, makes good reads, and has enough puck skills to extend plays. He's not just a shooter, he's a builder. He manufactures offense through positioning, pace, and pressure. If there's one area that's held Bump back from being an even higher end prospect, it's his skating. He's improved since draft day, no doubt. His first few steps are stronger, and he's learned how to better manage his stride through smart puck touches. But at the NHL level, pace matters, and this is the area that he'll need continuous work. The good news? He knows it. Bump's been working with power skating coaches since his freshman year, and you could see the results in his transition game. But if he wants to stick in the Flyers' top 9 long-term, continued progress here will be critical. If he can get faster, look out. After winning the national title, Bump joined the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and immediately made an impact. 3 points in his first 2 regular season games. Then came the playoffs, where he continued to generate scoring chances and handle the physical grind. What stood out most wasn't just the numbers, it was how comfortable he looked. He didn't defer. He didn't panic. He played his game, assertive, powerful, and detail-oriented. He showed that he can battle through traffic, hold his own along the boards, and contribute against faster, older competition. He'll likely start the 2025-26 season in the AHL, but a strong camp could force Philly's hand. Look, make no mistake, Alex Bump is knocking on the NHL door. And if he shines at training camp, there's a world where he steals a top 9 job. He's got the size, the shot, the hockey sense to fill a middle 6 scoring role as early as this year. But the Flyers won't rush him, especially with the growing crop of young talent in Lehigh Valley. It's just that Bump does have the kind of game that coaches love. North-south, relentless on the forecheck, tough to knock off the puck, and always hunting in the offensive zone. Whether he starts in Philly or not, he's close, really close. From 5th-round Flyer to full-time Flyer. That's the story he's writing now. Rounding out our top 5, we have Jack Nesbitt. The Flyers certainly raised some eyebrows when they selected Nesbitt 12th overall in the 2025 draft. On paper, he didn't have the gaudy numbers of some of these other OHL prospects. He wasn't a human highlight reel, but what Nesbitt did bring was something the Flyers clearly value. A big-bodied 6'4" center with excellent habits and strong net front game. Philly bet on the toolkit, the motor, and the long-term projection. He was one of the best shot generators in Windsor, and scouts kept circling back to one word when describing his game: disruptive. Not just physically, but in how he impacts space and puck movement in the offensive zone. Nesbitt's draft year in Windsor didn't have eye-popping totals, but the subtleties in his game stood out. He played in all situations: top-line center, first PK unit, bumper on the power play, and was often tasked with leading by example. His skating still needs improvement, yes, especially in his first few strides, but his anticipation made up for it in junior. Around the net, he was a menace. He hunted rebounds, established position early, and made life miserable for defenders. Look, it's not like the offense wasn't there. He hovered around the point-per-game pace on a team that didn't exactly light the league on fire. The ceiling is still forming, but the baseline is rock solid. What really boosted Nesbitt's stock was his standout showing at the U18 World Championships. Surrounded by top talent, he embraced the dirty areas, won puck battles below the goal line, and became a magnet for chaos around the net. He didn't have the flashiest tournament by any means, but NHL scouts loved what they saw. A kid who could match physicality, process quickly under pressure, and stay composed in big moments. On a team full of finesse, Nesbitt brought edge. His puck protection was elite, and he drove possession shifts by anchoring the cycle. That performance may have been the final push that got him into the top half of this summer's draft. And there's still debate about what exactly Nesbitt will be in the NHL. Some scouts believe his ceiling tops out as a third-line shutdown center, someone you trust in the defensive zone with faceoffs and penalty kills, while others think the offense is sneaky good and could develop into a 45-55 two-way second liner with power play utility. He'll need to improve his pace and edge work to unlock that potential, but size, work ethic, and smarts go a long way, and he's got all three. With proper development, including power skating work and refinement in transition play, Nesbitt could turn into a player who wears a letter and plays 12 plus years in the NHL. Nesbitt looks like the kind of prospect that Rick Tocchet would love, or whoever follows him would love. He plays hard, he's responsible with the puck, and he's willing to go to the dirty areas shift after shift. If the Flyers are envisioning a future center group that includes Luchenko and Cates, Nesbitt gives them size and physical balance. He's not going to blow you away in year one, but give him time in junior, a year in the AHL, and this guy could be centering your shutdown line and killing penalties at a high level. He's big, he's smart, and he's reliable. That's the kind of player the Flyers need. Our honorable mention for the show will be Denver Barkey. Taken 95th overall in the 2023 draft, I have him ranked 6th of Flyers prospect skaters. Denver Barkey's selection didn't make waves at the time, but within 2 years, he became one of the most productive players in the OHL and one of the most exciting names in the Flyers system. He posted 82 points in just 50 games with the London Knights last year, and that doesn't even include his monster playoff run or his 7-point showing at the Memorial Cup. Barkey isn't big. He's listed 5'10", and having seen him up close and personal, I can tell you that that's not even close. But he's dynamic. He blends speed, edge work, and creativity with relentless energy. If you need a spark, Barkey's your guy. He makes things happen every shift. What separates Barkey from other small players is how well he sees the game. His vision is elite. He doesn't just spot lanes, he creates them. He slips passes through traffic, dishes under sticks, and delays just long enough to freeze defenders. He can manipulate time and space like a true top-line facilitator. Playing for London, a team known for developing NHL talent, Barkey thrived in a fast-paced system. He often centered top wingers and quarterbacked power plays from the half wall. Despite his frame, he's not easily knocked off the puck. He plays slippery, and when defenders overcommit, Barkey punishes them with perfect touch passes or a sneaky quick wrister. One of the biggest concerns scouts had about Barkey entering his draft year was his size and whether he could handle physical play at higher levels. And while he might not be the biggest, he has gotten stronger. He's added muscle each offseason and has started to play with noticeable snarl. You see him win board battles, chase down pucks, and even lay the odd hit. His compete level is through the roof. He's also a surprisingly solid defender, especially on the penalty kill. He tracks pucks like a bloodhound and isn't afraid to block shots. That 200-foot mentality adds to his pro readiness. It could be time to see what Barkey does at the pro level with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. If his game translates, and there's a strong belief that it will, he could shoot up the Flyers depth chart quickly. What makes Barkey such a good fit in Lehigh Valley is his versatility. He'll likely play the wing, drive a line, or support a finisher, and contribute on both special teams. The big question is whether his pace holds up against bigger, faster competition. If it does, he's going to force his way into the Flyers' plans sooner rather than later. This is a player who thrives on proving people wrong, and he's been doing it his whole career. For me, Denver Barkey is not the kind of prospect you pencil in for one role. He's the guy you underline when you're looking for a gamer, a momentum shifter, or a do-it-all glue guy who can slot anywhere in the top 9. Look, Denver Barkey is not the kind of prospect, at least in my opinion, that you pencil in for a role. I have real questions about his frame, his speed, his physicality. Can he keep up in the NHL at the pro level? It's going to be really interesting to see him play in Lehigh Valley. Denver Barkey may have been a third-round pick, but he plays with first-round fire. So whether it's Porter Martone threading needles in East Lansing or Alex Bump crashing the net in Lehigh Valley, one thing's clear. The Flyers' pipeline's stocked. It's dangerous, and it's ready to explode. These aren't just prospects. These are future playoff warriors, future fan favorites, future problems for the rest of the league. If you're not paying attention now, you will be when they're lighting it up in Philadelphia within the next few years. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you bleed orange and black, and stay tuned because the next wave of Flyers hockey isn't on the way. They're already warming up. In the meantime, don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide, and we'll see you next time on HW Hockey.